It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Happy to be with you today. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us. The top story in our area continues to be the aftermath of a tragic fire that took the lives of 3 kids in West Bloomfield Township over the weekend. We go to Kevin McIntosh outside of Fire Station number 5 live for the latest information. Kevin.
Yes, Tyler, I am here at Fire Station number 5, West Bloomfield Township's Fire Station on Maple Road, just east of Orchard Lake, where fire officials and law enforcement are working together investigating the house fire that broke out on the 5,000 block of Penberry Lane, not too far from here, as a matter of fact. Now, at this current time, we do not have any major updates from either fire officials or law enforcement, as that investigation is still ongoing. But we have been told, as they have executed a search warrant earlier this week to make sure that they cross their T's and dot their I's and they don't miss anything during that investigation. So they are doing any and everything that they can to make sure they stay on top of this. They also have informed us that any evidence or anything that they do find, they will turn it over to the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office for further investigation throughout this case. Now, one thing that we do know is, there were no working smoke detectors in the home at the time. So we have been reminded by fire officials, please make sure you check your smoke detectors. Make sure that they are working. Make sure you are changing the batteries very frequently, and make sure you have a fire extinguisher, things of that nature, so that you can be proactive with these. So those are the few things that we've heard from fire officials and local law enforcement regarding this situation so far. But at the moment, like we said, there are no major updates at this time. But as soon as we do find out more, we will relay that information as well. Tyler?
Yes, Kevin, and the thing that's been on the minds of people in our community and the widespread area who have been looking at this story over the last 24 hours is that search warrant. But again, I want to emphasize, as you had mentioned, and I'll go back to you in a moment, for response on this, that it really is about additional fact-finding. The police and the fire department want to make sure that they really do have all the information that they need. That's what the chief and what the fire marshal have really been saying about that search warrant. That's why they went forward with that on Tuesday, correct?
Correct. They're taking more pictures than they usually take. They say they're trying to be extremely sensitive about this case and make sure that they find out exactly, some of the factors that were in play during this situation. But like I said, at this time, that's pretty much all the information that we have as the investigation is still ongoing.
Yeah, in fact, finding always important in the aftermath of any fire from the fire marshal's office. It becomes that much more important when there are unfortunate deaths involved, and especially when those deaths involved young people in our community. Kevin, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Kevin McIntosh live with us out at Fire Station number 5. The latest we have. We'll continue to keep updated on that, particularly with helpful safety information and tips from the West Bloomfield Fire Department, Police Department, other public safety entities. We are in communication with them for even more that you may need to know, and some helpful info on escape plans, on smoke detectors, on carbon monoxide detectors and alarms, and what you need to know to keep your home safe in the future, as that's really been the emphasis coming out of this story over the last 48 hours and continuing on into the latter portion of this week, is an emphasis on home safety precautions, especially those smoke detectors. Something Fire Marshal Byron Turnquist told me this week is a task that people should undertake regularly, checking those smoke detectors to make sure they're functioning properly and whether or not you need to replace them across your home.
The most important thing that I'd like for everybody in the viewing audience to know, take a few minutes today, walk through your house. If you've got elderly parents, walk through their house, check their smoke alarms, test them, push that button, make sure that it works. If the smoke alarm in the house, if the smoke alarms in your house are more than 10 years old, replace them. If they're discolored and yellow up on the ceiling, they're not as white as the paint on the ceiling, it's probably a good indicator it's been up there for more than 10 years and it needs to be replaced. Older smoke detectors aren't as sensitive, don't work properly. And it's just real important that everybody have working smoke alarms throughout their home.
And something you may see as an indication, or may hear as an indication, that regular intermittent beeping. There may not be smoke in your home, there may not be an impending fire in your home, but you're hearing that smoke detector every now and then just go beep. 15 seconds go by, another beep. It gets annoying. You may go up there and open it up and just take the battery out and say, I'll get to that in a little while. Get to that as soon as possible, that day, that hour. Go out and get some batteries and replace them, or check that smoke detector. It is vital to the safety of your home, to your loved ones, and everything else around you, especially your neighbors too, as those fires can spread quickly from one home to another. It may also be the end of the usefulness of that detector, as Fire Marshal Turnquist told us. If they start to look discolored, it's probably around that time where they're getting toward their expiration. Usually that shelf life is about 10 years old, but from the time you install them to the time that they are no longer going to be useful or be as effective and need to be replaced. Now, there's plenty of resources on this that you can find online and from a variety of different public safety publications. But if you have immediate questions on this, or where to put them in your home, how to best install them to be putting yourself and your loved ones in the best position possible to be safe in the event that there is smoke or a fire in your home, you can call the West Bloomfield Fire Department's non-emergency number and ask them questions anytime, 248-409-1505. That's 248-409-1505. Another important aspect of your fire safety plan in your home is an escape plan. Having exits from every single room, knowing what those are, and practicing them with everybody that's going to be in your home, whether they are living there 24/7 with you and yours, or they're even visiting for an extended period of time. This can be a life-saving plan and a life-saving practice, much like your regular old fire drills back in your school days. A really helpful video will explain a little bit more about those escape plans from our friends at the West Bloomfield Fire Department.
If a fire broke out tonight while you were sleeping, would you and your loved ones be able to get out safely? Take a few minutes to plan your escape from a fire and practice it with everyone in your household. Make sure everyone knows 2 ways out of each room if possible. Have a meeting place away from the home where everyone can meet and call the fire department from outside the home. Remember, get out and stay out. Be safe and have a great day.
More videos like that on the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield Fire Department at WB Fire Department on Facebook. And of course, they can also get a lot of that information too over the phone. Again, that phone number for non-emergency, 248-409-1505. Beyond that, in this process at this time, and the grieving process continues, services available for students both in the West Bloomfield School District and Farmington Public Schools, where those 3 children that passed away as a result of that fire did attend school. Dr. Danya Bazzi and West Bloomfield High School Principal Eric Pace, Dr. Bazzi, the superintendent, Eric Pace, the principal at our high school, said providing assistance will be a continuous effort in the wake of this tragedy all across the district.
Our staff and our students are still processing this. Our crisis teams have been deployed to support our students as needed, drop in all week. So it's not something that's, one and done. It's something that we'll continue to support.
It'll be myself, counseling and social work that will visit each of the students' classes when the time's appropriate to, talk through those things. And then the ongoing support for adults, because it is our job to make sure we're there to support our students, but we all feel the same emotions. And so being asked to process and carry that is a large burden, and that's something we're prepared to support our staff with as well. And then finally, we do offer an employee assistance program for continued mental health support services if a staff member needs it.
Eric Pace and Dr. Donnie Bazzi from the West Bloomfield School District detailing their services for students, for staff, and for families district-wide. Similar services are also available from the Farmington Public School District as well. Administrator Dr. Lydia Moore told me support services not only available in the schools themselves where the students did attend, but also district-wide through an online portal.
We have members of our social emotional support team at each of the buildings that were impacted. As well, we do have supports within our district from a care coordination service called Care Solace. This is a service, again, a mental health coordination service that's available for any family, student, or employee in Farmington Public Schools. And that can be accessed by going to CareSolace, CareSolace.com/Farmington-ES.
Again, that website for the grief support services through the Farmington Public School District for students, for staff, and for the greater community there, caresolace.com/FarmingtonPS. That's CareSolace, solace spelled SOLACE.com/FarmingtonPS. Lastly, grief will take many forms for people all across our community, whether it is students, whether it is staff in our schools, or even parents that are grieving and supporting their students at this time in the wake of this tragedy. I had a chance to speak with mental health professional Sarah Mendelson from Ellie Mental Health in West Bloomfield, who provided some advice in particular for parents in assisting their kids through the grieving process in these first few days.
Be patient. Just recognize that your role is not to fix this situation. There's really nothing that you can do to take away this tragedy. So you don't have to correct it or take it away from your child or your student or whoever you're working with. Just give them some space to kind of work through it on their own, but also encourage them if they'd like to talk or if they need some distraction or support. So those are some of the first things that come to mind.
Mendelson also emphasizing parents should take some time for their own grieving process as well, and even be open with their young kids and as they're going through their grieving process as well, and let them know what emotions that they're feeling and that they're there to support their kids, but these are emotions that a lot of people will be feeling, and that there is a network of support. Again, in the West Bloomfield School District, those support services are available district-wide, including at West Bloomfield High School, where one of the 3 kids that passed away as a result of that fire on Sunday did attend. All you have to do all your students have to do is speak to a member of their staff team, a teacher, an administrator, a support staffer, and they'll get them in contact with them. Same goes in the Farmington Public Schools, or visit caresolace.com/Farmington. PS. And again, we'll keep up to date with the West Bloomfield Fire Department for even more safety information as regards to smoke detectors, carbon monoxide alarms, escape plans, and so on, and give you more extensive coverage of what you need to know, what you should prepare, what is a good plan, and how to work that out with you and yours in your household, coming up very soon right here on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. In the meantime, if you have further questions, you want to gather more information, go to their Facebook page at WB Fire Department, or call their non-emergency number for questions, 248-409-1505. Again, that's for questions that you may have, or to have help from our local fire department pointing you in the right direction for information that you may need to put together that perfect safety plan, or to properly place your smoke detectors, 248-409-1505. We're going to take a short break here on the Splash Live. On the other side, we'll talk about support that's being provided not only for our firefighters, but also for others directly involved when fire emergencies happen in our community, from someone that's on the front lines providing that support in the immediate aftermath. Pastor Tim Holtzerlin joins us next, live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
What people are watching in Sylvan Lake, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What people are watching in West Bloomfield, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. What people are watching in Sylvan Lake. Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Welcome back to The Splash Live. I'm Tyler Keefe. Thank you for joining us on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM, as well as across social media, Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, as well as YouTube, Instagram, and X at Civic Center TV. In the wake of a fire emergency in our community, often the first responders for our first responders are our local public safety chaplains, including Pastor Tim Holzerlin from Shepherd King Lutheran Church, who serves as the West Bloomfield Fire Department chaplain, not only providing that immediate support to our first responders, but those also affected directly by these fire emergencies across Greater West Bloomfield. I had a chance to talk to Pastor Holzerlin about these incidences and how he and other chaplains for public safety support those on the front lines in every way. In the wake of tragic events such as the recent home fire on Pembury Lane in West Bloomfield Township, some support services are needed not only for those directly affected by these fire emergencies, but also our firefighters and those related to any victims that may be involved. Usually when that happens, the first person on the scene from our West Bloomfield Fire Department is Department Chaplain Pastor Tim Holzerlin, who joins us now on the Splash Live. Pastor, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, happy to have you on to give us some insight into this, because it's a tragic situation that we had in West Bloomfield Township late on Sunday evening, around 8 o'clock, with the fire being reported on Pembury Lane. 3 souls lost in the fire, all being children. So in a scenario like this or other emergencies that do arise that may be really tough situations for our firefighters, take us through your role in the fire department and how you help our firefighters, our paramedics, and even others as these scenes are often unfolding immediately in the aftermath.
Usually what happens is I get a call from the chief, and he'll let me know what took place. And then there'll be 1 or 2 different things that'll happen. He'll say, I need you to go to this particular address, or I need you to go to one of the stations. We have 6 stations in West Bloomfield. Or there's going to be a time when he'll say, I need you to either with the firefighters or to be with the people who have suffered loss in the incident. So I may be speaking with a family, I may be speaking with firefighters. It just matters where the chief thinks I'll be best used depending on the situation. So they kind of change from situation to situation.
And it's good that that happens, because not only do our firefighters need some initial consultation when they have seen difficult things on the job, but these are tough situations where families or individuals that may have just experienced these emergencies, I would imagine, would be very distraught in those opening moments. So as someone that is on the front lines in your capacity, what maybe advice do you have for people that are in our community that may be affected by this tragedy we just underwent, collectively, as they start their grieving process, and of course help others in our community through their grieving process as well?
Yeah, I would say some of the things you can think about, and again, probably give the disclaimer. We're going to be talking about difficult situations that have taken place, very tragic, very horrific. And so for some of the people who may be watching this play out on a regular basis, it's okay to take a break from it, to kind of pull away from, all the updates and all the things that are happening, and give you an opportunity to kind of pull away from it. So the same things happens. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
So the same thing happens with our first responders. Again, this is something that's a very critical incident. This doesn't happen every day. It doesn't happen on a regular basis. It's something that is unique. Now, it does reoccur, then different tragedies take place. But for firefighters, again, when this takes place and after it's done, there are two things that can happen in the case. There could be, if I'm called to the firefighters, then it would be what I would call a diffusing. So we talk a little bit about what they saw, what they heard, what they smelled, and then kind of walk them through a process of dealing with it, and at the same time then getting a chance to take a break from it. So normally what happens in some of those cases too is that the people who are directly affected by it, who are there at the particular scene, they could be pulled out of service for a short period of time to recoup and kind of regroup, and then the rest of the other 5 stations would take over when they feel, everybody who is affected by it, the chief and other people who are part of the process would feel, okay, they've worked through this. Okay, now they're going to go back into service again. So some of it is, especially after the scene has just taken place, you kind of have to be pulled out of the situation in order to, again, diffuse or debrief that particular situation. So I talk about people who are watching some of these things on a regular basis. If the people who literally go through this have to take a step back, obviously, if you're watching it, and again, the coverage could be continuous, you need to take also a step back and to regroup, so to speak.
Yeah, everybody wants to know more about these sorts of situations because they're horrifying, and you're just so curious about why did this happen? Why do these things happen? And especially for those that are on the front lines, our firefighters, our paramedics, certainly others in public safety like our police officers, they see things of this nature to some extent or another on a day-to-day basis, a year-to-year basis, certainly. Yeah. And so how do the chaplain services that are provided, that you're providing to the fire department, that Pastor Monica William and others have provided in the past to the police department, ultimately help our first responders navigate even the difficulties that come along with the most basic day-to-day work that they do protecting our community?
Well, one is a chance to get to visit with them and to be with them. The other thing is, again, depending on how critical the incident was, again, they go through things called the debriefing or diffusing. And this happened recently. I was not a part of the recent debriefing that took place after the fire. But in the past, I've been part of debriefings after horrific events have taken place and people have died. And so it's a way of kind of walking people through it. I have in my glove compartment kind of these cue cards that are here, and they'll talk about different phases. So this is a way to walk through what did I just see or hear or smell. And all my senses were involved in it. So there's a way in which you can kind of go through and get the group together. And again, this is very confidential. This is something only for the group or for the small group of people who are there. First phase is a fact phase. So you kind of say, how were you involved? What did you do? Then after that, then there will be a thought phase. What were some of the things you were thinking when you first came upon the scene? What were you thinking after, the situation was over? Then there's a reaction phase. And some of it could be, one question is asked is, what was the worst part of this particular incident that happened? And so each of these is a way to kind of unpack, this is what I saw, this is what I felt, this is what I smelled at this particular situation. We'll talk about a symptom phase. So there are physical things that can happen. Maybe you might be jittery, or there'd be other ways that would be physically you're working through that. People who have encountered, again, great grief. Sometimes they'll make, I would say, for lack of a better word, maybe a grunting noise, or would say pound the chest or do something along that line. There's emotional reactions. There's usually talking about, a guilt over the situation, or an anger that might come out. There's a cognitive reactions for first responders. Sometimes that can be nightmares, and that could happen after that takes place, after you go home, after your shift. There's behavioral reactions. Sometimes that can be isolation, a sense of fatigue. I got enough sleep last night, but I'm still tired. So all of those things, again, could be the symptoms that could take place. And then there's a teaching phase. And some of it is, again, there's might be an appropriate time when people will be saying, I should have done this, I could have done that. And this happens at times with first responders, and saying, you could put anybody in that situation, the outcome would be the same. So again, one thing is, you didn't have control over the situation. I know you're taught, you're trained to have control of the situation, but you can't have control over every situation. And then there's kind of, after the teaching phase, then there's kind of, I want to say, sending out, so to speak. So, we tell, please don't use alcohol or drugs to deal with this. Drink water, walk, get some exercise, and again, get a moment to, again, be with your family, for firefighters, and take some moments, again, so that the appropriate amount of rest so that you can re-engage again. Again, some of the things that, happen with that is, you get to be hypervigilant, obviously. Sure. You want to make sure that this never happens again. And so you need that time to debrief, to defuse, to process all of this stuff, so that I don't need that kind of hypervigilance. These things are going to happen again. And when they do, here's proper ways in which I can cope with it.
That's really interesting insight, too, and good insight for those out in the community who will be seeing our first responders going forward. We know from the initial reports, all 6 fire stations in West Bloomfield had responded to the fire at Pembury. And so, as you mentioned earlier on, some of those firefighters were directly in the rescue and may have been encountering some of those things that they will be debriefing on with other consultation within the fire department and public safety in West Bloomfield. Others are going to go back to the day-to-day right away. But given that all of our firefighting stations were there, we had police presence as well as our first responders are getting back out in the community. Obviously, that direct consultation wouldn't be something that would be had one-to-one between a first responder and an individual member of the community. But as us individuals see these first responders out in the community, what advice do you have for everyday Greater West Bloomfield citizens to have them be able to show their support to our first responders and have that also be part of this process moving forward that could be something positive for those firefighters, paramedics, and police officers?
That's a good question. Sometimes they want to just do the job.
Of course.
And so that's what they want to get back to. They're used to serving. So again, there are some ways, again, I'd say don't necessarily have to go so much out of your way or big expressions.
Of course.
But I think just the little things, if you do see them and they're getting lunch or they're buying food for later that evening or something. Sometimes they're in some of our grocery stores or things along that line. Again, a thanks for your service is always a good thing to do. And so I'd say it's just the little way so that people can support and show their support for first responders. So, but they are a group of people who want to serve others. So, I mean, they're kind of used to that. They're not used to being, to be served by people in the community. So just simple ways in which people can be thankful for what they do, either by word or again, if you send letters or something like that to Station 5, which is main one where the administration department's at. There's all ways in which you can express your thanks for what they do on a regular basis. And that's, that's what I do as well.
Yeah, those little shows of support that can go a really long way.
Constantly thanking them for what they do, so yeah.
Yeah, it is. It truly is those little shows of support along the way that let our first responders know the work that they're doing is important to us individuals, to all these families here in Greater West Bloomfield, given that they serve West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Orchard Lake, Sylvan Lake, and provide additional assistance to our neighboring communities as well. Thank you for your insight today, Pastor Holtzman. We will let you continue on. But before we let you go, anything else that you would like to say at this time to the community or our firefighters?
That they'll continue serving. They will continue to do what they do, and they're very professional. They're well trained. I think in the last 5 years especially, there's a great effort towards emotional wellness, and they're starting to embrace that. And I think the ones who are going to be coming up in the future are going to be well trained in that. We have a peer support group in our fire department, and so we have some great tools and some wonderful people, and a great group of men and women who serve in West Bloomfield. So I think the community should rightly be proud of their service and what they do. So that's what I would say about that. So people in the community, again, give thanks for the great people that we have in the community who work so hard for us.
That is certainly the case. They work very hard each and every day to protect our community, and it's good to see also in our fire department that emphasis on support, not only after the direct emergencies that our firefighters and our paramedics are involved in, but for the day-to-day rigors of the job as well. Pastor Holtzman, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Appreciate having you on as always, and especially in a time like this where we think about all those that may have been affected by this fire in Greater West Bloomfield, including those first responders whose heroism and the very swift response on Sunday night helped to extinguish that fire and are now helping to understand why it happened and how the community can learn from this to keep themselves safe going forward. We appreciate you and appreciate the West Bloomfield Fire Department. Again, for even more helpful home safety tips to help yourself in the wake of this tragedy, learn more about smoke detector safety, carbon monoxide alarms, forming an escape plan, I highly encourage you to head over to the Facebook page of the West Bloomfield Fire Department at WB Fire Department. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, Valentine's Day is on its way and a chance for families to connect as well with our friends at West Bloomfield Parks. Live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live.
Good nutrition can help make sure you have enough iron, calcium, and vitamin C in your body, which can make it harder for lead to enter your bloodstream. Help protect your family from the harmful effects of lead. When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
Hi, I'm Lauren Azuri, the Park Naturalist Supervisor for West Bloomfield Parks. Congratulations to you, Civic Center TV, for hitting 1 million views on YouTube. We really appreciate your partnership in spreading nature education in a creative way in our community. I'm Lauren Azuri, proud to be 1 in a million.
And now, back to the Splash Live.
Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Tyler Keefe, encouraging you to also stay tuned with us for even more updates and fun information, plus what's going on across West Bloomfield, Keego Harbor, Orchard Lake, and Sylvan Lake, all across your work week on CivicCenterTV.com, on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, as well as on YouTube, X, and Instagram at Civic Center TV. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, a time where we celebrate our significant others, but for families, it's also an opportunity for fathers and their daughters to connect with a fun night out as well. The Daddy-Daughter Dinner Dance through West Bloomfield Parks, occurring on Friday, February 14th, Valentine's Day proper, and on Saturday, February 15th. Joining us for more information on this fun event is Recreation Programmer Crystal Smith from West Bloomfield Parks. Thanks for being with us.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on to talk about this. We know the Mother-Son Dance, a huge success earlier on in the year. So much fun for mothers and their sons. Now we're flipping that to the other side with fathers and their daughters coming up on this Valentine's Day. What should the community know as they're thinking of something to do to celebrate with the family next week?
Well, it's a great event. Every year, fathers and father figures get the opportunity to bring their special girl out for a night of dancing, dinner, and making memories with WB Parks at the Daddy-Daughter Dinner Dance. It's so special for little girls to admire their dads. This event allows fathers the opportunity to model positive and respectful behavior that daughters can carry into their lives. And this event serves as a tribute to those men who have chosen fatherhood to proudly present their daughters to the world with love, support, and guidance. So we're really hoping to capture the magic moments between the the daughters and the fathers at this special dance, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So we hope that you purchase your registration. Seats are selling out quickly.
Yeah, it'll be at Glen Oaks Golf Club with West Bloomfield Parks, and it's a fun event. It's a popular event every single year, and part of what makes it so fun for the kids in particular is, look, sometimes the kids don't have all that energy to go out on the dance floor for the entirety of the night, or they just don't want to dance. They don't like to do it, but there's plenty of other activities for fathers and their daughters at this event as well. Tell us a little bit more.
Sure. So we could definitely expect an interactive and engaging DJ. Simeon Marguerite, who has performed musical entertainment all throughout Metro Detroit, will be hosting both Friday and Saturday night's dance. We'll also have professional photos available for on-site purchase from TSS Photography to capture that special moment. There will be a free photo booth station with fun photo props. Love is in the air for that. And we'll have a really fun tattoo station with glittery and sparkly girly tattoos, along with the Friendship Factory on site making or having a make and take station. You can create a spa creation, whether it's a lotion, spray, or a lip gloss. And we'll have a 4x6 photo frame creation as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then not to mention the delicious buffet and the desserts.
Crystal Smith is with us from West Bloomfield Parks. Their daddy-daughter dinner dance coming up. It's a 2-day event, so you can pick and choose what day you are best able and available to go to that event. But tickets are selling out February 14th and Saturday, February 15th at Glen Oaks Golf Club. More information on wbparks.org. The time on that, February 14th and 15th, 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Tickets $40 for residents, $45 for non-residents. And Crystal, this is something that's been going on for many years now. It's one of the favorite recurring events year in and year out from the fans of West Bloomfield Parks. In the past, and from your understanding, what are some of the elements of this that make it something that brings fathers and daughters back every year?
Well, it's been ongoing for 10 plus years, and it's grown in the extent of where it's been held from year to year. So we're really excited to be going back to the the Glen Oaks Golf Course from the Jewish Community Center. Both locations were great venues. We've added in a variety of different vendors to add an element of interaction and engagement to the event, so it's more than just a dinner and a dance. In the past, we've used special fairy tale characters, tattoo stations, dance floor games, and activities. We try to keep it fresh each year, and of course, we follow all the latest music trends, so we want to add that into the mix as well. And we just hope to continue growing it and growing our new families to come in.
More information on the event and other things happening in West Bloomfield Parks going forward can be found on wbparks.org. You can also get more updates constantly on their Facebook page at WB Parks. Crystal Smith is with us, a recreation programmer with West Bloomfield Parks, on today's edition of the Splash Live. And this is an event that's very fun for fathers, very fun for daughters. It gets everyone sort of engaged in a fun event over the Valentine's Day weekend. Why is it best to hold this event during this time of the year? Valentine's Day is typically where we think about couples. We think about the mother and the father or the other parental units that are connected in our community. But this is a special opportunity specifically for this dynamic. Why now for fathers and daughters?
Well, there's a lot of community events that take place all throughout the year, and we find that this works in this time frame of Valentine's Day because it's such a sweet and loving event that promotes and fosters a healthy dad and daughter dynamic. It brings them together, and it's more than, I think Valentine's Day should be perceived as more than just a couple holiday. It's really just about love in general. So spreading love and being joyful at this event really works for us, and we just got lucky that it fell on Valentine's Day this year. I don't know that in the past it has, but it's been close, and it works well for us.
6 p.m. on Friday, February 14th, and on Saturday, February 15th. Again, $40 for tickets for residents, $45 for non-residents, and registration is open as we speak on wbparks.org. However, Crystal did say those tickets selling out pretty quickly, so if you want to get involved in this, mark it on your calendars, get those tickets pretty quickly. And Crystal, ultimately, when these fathers and these daughters leave Glen Oaks Golf Club on the 14th or on the 15th, or maybe even on both days for this event, what do you hope that they take away, both the kids and the parents?
My biggest hope is that they leave with joy in their hearts and that they had a really happy and magical moment with one another, that maybe they got out of their comfort zone and danced a little bit, or they purchased a photo to have as a keepsake and share with the family. My ultimate hope is that they just enjoy what WB Parks continues to bring to the community. And this event is just so special for me because, of course, there's all the back end planning and the communications that take place, but it's so wonderful to see the event in action. The fancy outfits, the smiles, and the warmth between the family members is so special when planning these types of events.
And you mentioned the team because there's a whole team of recreation programmers and of course the recreation manager as well that all play a role in devising these events, and then each and every one of them throughout the year will be planning these specifically or leading the planning in that, and especially when it comes to the family events like this. What really are the key focal points that West Bloomfield Parks hones in on as they're thinking about bringing these events back, starting new ones, but really keeping that same impact across all of these, across all 4 seasons?
Well, we really take our feedback from families seriously. We love getting positive feedback as well as criticizing feedback as well, because we can grow from that. Over the years, we've received really positive reviews about this event specifically, and that's why it continues to sell out. WB Parks loves bringing families together, and I feel like families really enjoy this particular night because it's an upscale evening, to go on a date with your special little girl and create special memories. So I think that overall the family really continues to enjoy it. And as programmers, we continue to read and review that feedback and make the changes where it's necessary.
You can find even more information on those fun events, the new ones, the ones that are coming back, and even future events coming up on wbparks.org. Navigate to their events page to find all those events or register for them going forward, including the Daddy-Daughter Dinner Dance, 6 p.m. Friday, February 14th, and Saturday, February 15th at Glen Oaks Golf Course. Crystal Smith with us from West Bloomfield Parks. Before we let you go, anything else people should know about this event coming up or other similar family events like this in the near future from West Bloomfield Parks?
Well, it's really important that WB Parks gets your general waivers. And if you were a registered participant for this event, you should have received an email to complete that. That would help us out tremendously. And it'll be on file for a year so that you can attend all of our events for this season and seasons to come this year without any hiccups. So that's my one note for you. And I look forward to seeing everybody next weekend.
Should be a very fun time for fathers and daughters out at Glen Oaks Golf Course. Crystal, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You as well. More registration information and updates on Facebook at WB Parks, or you can find West Bloomfield Parks on wbparks.org. Close to home, right next door to us at the West Bloomfield Police Department, new people are coming in each and every day to begin their careers and take the plunge into public service. That includes our public service aides, including Julio Lopez, who's not only taking the plunge into a law enforcement career in West Bloomfield, but also into one of our local lakes, all for a good cause, participating in the Special Olympics Polar Plunge in Oakland County on February 22nd. He joins us now to tell us even more about his participation. Mr. Lopez, thank you so much for joining us today.
How's it going?
Doing all right. How are you doing today?
Not too bad.
All right, so we know what your plans are to participate in the 2025 Oakland County Polar Plunge to help support a very worthy cause, Special Olympics of Michigan. You normally you're on solid land each and every day helping out our friends over at the West Bloomfield Police Department, but pretty soon you're going to be diving into some of the coldest waters in Michigan. Why?
Well, I've actually done it a few times, and I've worked with Special Olympics in some of their past things that I could volunteer in, such as their sporting events, and I've kind of grown a special place in my heart for Special Olympics. What they do is pretty amazing, and the people that you interact with Special Olympics, they're all amazing people, and yeah.
And so not only are you taking the Polar Plunge to raise awareness for Special Olympics and the great things that they do here in Greater West Bloomfield and Oakland County and beyond, but you're also raising some funds for that as well. What's your goal and where are you at as we speak today?
Right now, we're about 75% of the way to that goal. I think this is the first time that West Bloomfield Police has created a team to do this Polar Plunge. So, of course, it's not going to be a huge thing, but I'm just trying to start it off pretty small.
And there's more information on how you can participate from the community, donate to this cause, support Julio before the Polar Plunge, or even during and after. Facebook at West Bloomfield PD. Julio Lopez is with us, police service aide at the West Bloomfield Police Department. And Julio, this is a really cool way to kind of get involved in the community, support a good cause, and provide a different kind of support to the people that you and your colleagues at the police department are serving each and every day. In your opinion, how does something like this sort of align really perfectly with the overall mission of police officers and certainly their police service aides in West Bloomfield?
The people that Special Olympics supports, they need motivation to do the sports, to do the things that Special Olympics is offering. And I think that having law enforcement involved kind of sets them to believe that they can do so much because, we're seen as, police officers, we're seen as people that people look up to as heroes. And I think having their heroes do this with them and do this for them encourages Special Olympics and the people that Special Olympics supports.
And so around this point of the year and as you head toward mid-February, water temperatures in some of Michigan's lakes can be in the low single digits or even at or below freezing. And so it's going to be extremely cold temperature to jump into a lake this time of the year, even for something that's warm and fuzzy like the good cause of Special Olympics for the Polar Plunge. So how are you preparing for taking that jump? I know you've done it before, and it can't be any easier the second, third, fourth time and so on.
No, it actually gets harder every time you do it because you know how cold it is and you know how much of a struggle it is afterwards. And preparing for it, it's all mental. You just gotta not think about how cold it is and have some people go in front of you so that you can kind of see their reaction and see what the outcome of it is after you go jumping in.
Julio Lopez is with us, police service aide with the West Bloomfield Police Department. He will be participating in the Oakland County Polar Plunge coming up very soon and looking to raise some money as well in the process to help Special Olympics as he and the team at the West Bloomfield Police do raise awareness for them at this time of the year. More information on the fundraiser, on the Polar Plunge, and how you can cheer on Julio can be found on Facebook at West Bloomfield PD. And so far, how has the police community within the West Bloomfield Police Department and the greater community responded after learning that you're going to go jump into a cold lake for a good cause coming up pretty soon?
I'd say they've helped raise about like half the funds that we've created so far, and I think it's a great thing. I know it's pretty small right now, but I think it's a great thing that people in our community notice this and know that it's for a good cause and are willing to donate some money for us.
And so beyond financial contributions, what would you like the community to know about how they can get involved and support smaller initiatives or even support something that's kind of on a larger scale like Special Olympics of Michigan?
Well, this Polar Plunge is actually not only for just law enforcement, but for anybody. Law enforcement jump is separate than the civilian jump. So they too could jump in the Polar Plunge, create their own team, gather some people that are willing to jump in a very cold lake and help support this cause.
More information, again, can be found on Facebook at West Bloomfield PD. They made an entire post about Julio's intention to jump into that lake as part of the Polar Plunge. You can find that, cheer him on, and find out ways that you can contribute to the cause as he supports and raises money for the Special Olympics of Michigan. And looking ahead as you continue on as a police service aide and get further into this career path of yours, how are you looking at maybe some other ways that you can jump into community events and initiatives and help raise more awareness for some of these organizations that are helping everyday people every day like you and your colleagues are doing?
A lot. I mean, I've been volunteering for this type of stuff for a long time, even before my choice in going to law enforcement. So I will always be looking for opportunities to help anybody. And I think working in law enforcement kind of helps me do that because they too are willing to help volunteer for anything and opens the door to so many things that I can do for my community.
So as people are looking forward to this, maybe they want to help participate, maybe they want to participate themselves, can you give any information about when they can maybe expect to see you in this Polar Plunge, and if they want to come out there, cheer you on, cheer the other law enforcement officers and officials that will be participating on, or join in themselves, when they can expect to have that happen and add it to their calendars?
Yeah, so the jump is February 22nd. I believe law enforcement jumps at 11 a.m. We're getting there around 10 a.m. to sign in and everything. But if you want to see not just West Bloomfield, but some other surrounding Oakland County police departments jump in, 11 o'clock is the pretty good time to come.
There's a classy.org fundraiser ongoing to support Julio Lopez and his efforts from the West Bloomfield Police Department as he participates in the 2025 Oakland County Polar Plunge. Again, that's going to be on February 22nd, but you can already support and join in on the fun right now on Facebook at West Bloomfield PD. Julio Lopez, police service aide with the West Bloomfield Police Department. Before we let you go, anything else you'd like our community here to know about your efforts?
Just jump in. It's actually a lot of fun, especially when you get to do it with people in Oakland County. I highly suggest doing this event. Even though it may not sound that fun, trust me, it's pretty fun.
Well, we appreciate you coming on to tell us more about your intention to jump in and hopefully get a few more people to join your team as well. Julio, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate having Julio on the program. Appreciate you for joining us and for telling us more about the special event you'll be participating in with the West Bloomfield Police Department. Again, West Bloomfield PD on Facebook for more information, including a link that helps you participate in the Polar Plunge along with our police team and raise some funds. They've raised a lot of money so far, but all the more helps them support Special Olympics of Michigan in their fundraising efforts going forward. That is going to do it for today's edition of the Splash Live. We encourage you to stay with us across social media on Facebook at Civic Center TV 15, on X and Instagram at Civic Center TV as well, and subscribe for free to our YouTube channel at Civic Center TV for even more information, updates, and to find all of our Splash programs on demand. For our entire team at Master Control, Calvin Brown, Ryan Younglove, and Jake Schaff, and out in the field, Kevin McIntosh, I'm Tyler Kieft, live, local, social. It's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.